Welcome to Talk Tuesday, a series dedicated to empowering youth and families. This series is brought to you by Steps Foundation Incorporated, where advocacy meets education for the betterment of young minds. Each month, we explore meaningful topics designed to inspire growth, spark creativity, and equip our listeners with the tools they need to thrive. I'm Amaya Ward McCaskill, your host and peer educator at Steps Foundation Incorporated. This month, we're focusing on a topic that's crucial for academic success: exam prep strategies. With exams approaching, it's essential to equip ourselves with effective techniques to study efficiently, manage stress, and perform our best. Preparing for exams isn't just about hitting the books, it's about developing habits that support your confidence, your focus, and your well being. This month, we're exploring how thoughtful planning, smart study strategies, and a calm mindset can help you approach tests with clarity and control. Whether you're aiming to boost your grades, reduce stress, or just feel more prepared, these tools aren't just for school, they're life skills that'll carry you far beyond the classroom. Let's unlock your potential together. Over to you, Ilani.
Hi everyone. So my first question is, what are some techniques to calm down before or during a test?
I like to take deep breaths before a test. And sometimes I feel like you just got to get the nervous energy out. So sometimes it's like, shake your hands around, get up and run or move around just to get the feeling of anxiety out or the feeling of I have to do something. I got to move because sometimes it's like that pent up energy when you get ready to take a test, especially if you're a nervous test taker. Um, but yeah, definitely some deep breathing and just movement. For some people, that might be a workout. For some, that might be like a walk before you go to take your exam. For some, it just may be like, I just need to jump up and down. I like that, but I think that's a very good question. And I feel like that's one that we should all be able to answer. Like, what do we do before we take a test?
I definitely
Honestly, I think a good one would be like talking to your friends, like hanging out with the people you're familiar with, so that you can kind of de-stress and get your mind off the test until you take it. Because like you're still gonna have the information with you. You're just kind of taking your mind off it for a little bit.
I agree with that. I think I've done that before, like talking to people in my class before the test definitely gets my mind off of it for a minute. Um, Also, the taking walks is really helpful for me. Like, the college I went to, like there were a lot of trees, a lot of nature. So if I could just step outside, whatever building I was in, and just not even step outside, but get to the testing place early, and like just be outside for a little while, then I'd feel a little better like going in to like take the actual test.
I used to chew gum a lot before a test because I used to get very nervous and I get like sweaty hands. So I used to like touch something. I don't know.
I love that. And I see in the chat, prepare well, eat well, and just do your best. And I think that's awesome too. Just remembering, right? We're as prepared as we are. And just going in with a good, healthy mindset. I got this. I'm gonna do my best when I walk in this room. Can also help you to kind of calm down. I love all of these ideas. I love the trees too, because nature is its own healing tool.
Okay. So not talking about anxiety. How can parents and teachers support students dealing with anxiety?
I,
For
I
some
was about
people,
to say, I'm going to point at Lamar. Lamar, you start that one off.
yeah, I was about to say, for a lot of people, it's just that you need to talk about it. Just like talk about it with somebody, because that'll really just get it off of you and get that weight off.
I like that. I feel like as parents and as an educator, right, we should be able to just share with our kids some tips and tools. Sometimes our children and our students are not going to come to us and say, I got anxiety, I'm nervous, I'm feeling overwhelmed. But as a parent and as an educator, we should be able to provide those tools and resources to our students and children. Sometimes for some kids, it's a hug. Just to be able to have that deep breath and that sigh of relief, right? And knowing that, okay, you see me, you understand, like right now, like I am anxious about this test. For some, it's just the recognition and hearing that, oh, you see me. You see I'm struggling right now. And then being able to say, let's take some deep breaths together. I feel like as parents and as educators, we should be able to just jump in and do our part when we see our kids are in need of that little extra assistance. What are some things that kind of help you guys, especially in college, like in that college level? What are the things that you guys feel like would be that support for you? Because in college, so I know like for our kids, right, their parents are literally right there, or the teachers are like on the other side. But in college, it's a little bit different because your parents may not be right there, and your professors have what 2,000 plus other students that they're looking at. What do you guys feel on a college level would be that support system when you're feeling that anxiety before a test?
I don't know if this isn't from personal experience, but I knew kids in some of my classes that they got extra time on a test, and I don't know if they had to talk to someone and if that conversation included explaining like I have anxiety or like test anxiety, but some students need extra help. So that's a resource.
I love that. And I love that you brought that up. So for those who are unsure what it is that she's referring to, those are accommodations. So you're able to kind of go to your school, talk to like your if you guys have like an academic coach at school, or if it's somebody in your office where you're able to go in and say, this is what I'm struggling with. Am I able to receive accommodations? And it's true for some people, depending on what it is they have that they need the accommodations for, they're able to get extra time. For some, let's say you're a student who does not perform well, hearing other people clicking their pens or tapping their pencils, and it becomes that distraction for you that you cannot get your test done or stay focused. They'll allow you to have a silent room or a quiet room, or maybe even allow you to put on oh my gosh, the noise canceling earphones. So it's not plugged into anything, so you're not listening to anything, but it helps to reduce the amount of noise that you hear around you. So accommodations are certainly helpful. It just requires you to be honest enough to share with somebody that you are struggling and you need that additional support. So that's a great one. I'm glad that you brought that up. What about for you, Ilani?
Currently, I don't know because half of my classes are online. So there's a difference, I think.
Oh, I love the comments. I see peer support groups and friends. Yes, y'all, yes. And it's true. I feel like sometimes you need the people to surround you when you start to feel anxious or nervous, because those friends or those peers are able to help remind you of techniques and strategies that you can use to calm yourself down. So I think that's awesome. Thank you guys in the chat. Let's go. Let's go, team.
Okay, so do you guys think there's apps or like tools that can help you with like stress management? I haven't seen one. Like,
Yes, they have them out there. Calm is a good one. Some school districts, I don't know which ones, but some school districts do have memberships to Calm, and they extend those memberships to students. So if you want to know if your school has the Calm app, ask your teacher. And if your teacher doesn't know, ask the principal. Sometimes they have access to the Calm app. And then this is one of those things that helps you to remember to deep breathe. They do guided meditations. Sometimes it's just a way to help you to remember to take a minute, take a breath. If not that app, there's another one called Insight Timer that also does guided meditation. And Insight Timer is free. Calm is a paid subscription, which is why you want to go through the school. And there is another one, but I've personally used Insight Timer. I've loved Insight Timer. You can literally go in and search for them by the time limit that you want to do it. So let's say all you got is 2 minutes. You literally search for 2-minute calming techniques and it'll pop up, and it helps to guide you through that technique. So a lot of people struggle with meditation because meditation requires you to be still or silent in an area, which also you do not have to do that, by the way. There's so many different ways of meditating. Meditation does not always require you to sit still and be quiet. But this is what a lot of people associate meditation with. Insight Timer allows you to kind of have a person that's talking to you and telling you what to do. YouTube. So if you don't want to use any other app and you have YouTube, you can literally type in, provide me with 2-minute meditation, guided meditation, or 2-minute calming techniques, and it'll pop up. Progressive muscle relaxation is a good one, especially before a test. A lot of times, do you guys notice, and I'm gonna ask this to you guys that are up here, when you are nervous about something, do you notice that your jaw may start to hurt sometimes? So the unconscious, right, clenching of your teeth, it's not something that you would openly notice, but when you're nervous, your muscles start to tighten in spaces that you didn't even know you was using. So progressive muscle relaxation actually walks you through relaxing each of your muscles from head to toe. So things that you don't think that you're tightening, or things that you don't think that you're clenching, like you may not notice that you're clenching your fist. Sometimes you may not notice that you ball your toes underneath your feet. And so it helps you to relax all of those muscles before you go into the next thing. So these are all great apps and tools that you can use to help you relax. And look, and I see one of the students put ChatGPT, and that's right. You can ask ChatGPT to provide you with some calming techniques and tools. Absolutely. That's
You
a
can
great
even use
question.
Google for that, because Google has everything.
Google does have everything.
Same thing with YouTube. YouTube has everything.
Indeed it does. Indeed it does.
So, how comparing grades increase anxiety and how you should students deal with it? I think a lot of us compare with our friends, like being smarter. I used to do that. I used to compare myself, and it's not good. Yeah,
Come through, Ilani. Yes.
I was like, you're smarter than me. Oh my gosh, embarrassing.
It's not
Now when you
embarrassing. Some people are just like not as accustomed and used to the school system. Because some people are better in that as than others. It doesn't mean you're not smart. You just have to. You're just smart in something
sometimes I
else.
don't even think it's that, Lamar. I think some people are not good test takers. Like it really has no bearing on how smart you are, because you'll know the content and the material, but you hate the test and you feel like you can't function when it comes to the test. Elena, was that you?
Yeah.
I understand that because
It's a very real thing. So it's a real feeling. It's a real thing to have comparing moments. We're humans. We compare ourselves to a lot of things, right? And we compare ourselves against a lot of people. And even though some of us are like, oh no, I'm good. I'm not comparing myself. Let you see that one thing that you really like and want that somebody else got, you start comparing. But it's about remembering that you are sufficient enough, that you have just as many good tools and qualities as the next person. So don't go down the rabbit hole of doing that side-by-side comparison of your grades and assuming that you are not smarter than somebody else. You have it. Now, how can you utilize it? What is it that you need to get you to the level where you feel you are supposed to be? And is that level a realistic expectation? Because some of us strive for perfection, but is there a perfect? No.
there is no
So
limit when it comes to learning.
absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so I think comparisons are things that we do because we all do them at some point, but we shouldn't. Or at least we should not allow it to define who we are and where we are.
Because comparisons can be could be healthy at a certain extent, but then if you let it control that part and all that, it can become unhealthy.
I love that you said comparisons can be healthy to a certain extent. Can you provide me with an example of how?
Like, we're gonna take these grades. Let's say you're like, oh, you got a higher grade, you must like understand it. Can you help me with this? Because I'm struggling in it. So like you could try to do that as an outlet to ask for help in that certain subject because you might be struggling.
I love that. I love that. It absolutely, sometimes when you're doing those comparisons, you can make them goals as long as they're realistic ones. When you're looking at how somebody else is excelling, and then you're kind of comparing where you are versus where they are and using that as a goal setting technique rather than a comparison to put yourself down. So yes, I agree that sometimes when you're doing those comparisons, they can be good and healthy as long as you're doing them in the right way. So that's a good point, Lamar. Good job.
From my experience, for the school test, like the Florida, I don't know, um, I think people passed it and I couldn't, and I would like compare myself because like how they're so smart to pass the exam and how can they do it. Um, so I used to compare myself with that, like the SAT and stuff like that, about like passing the test because I couldn't pass it and they did, and I used to like like I get emotional because like I tried so much and studying too, and I couldn't pass it, and they did. But I understood that people are good. Maybe I'm good at math, you're good at science, and like everybody's different on like their learning style and like um intelligence. So maybe he was not good at math, but I was. You don't know. Yeah. So like you like don't compare yourself with like with your friends because maybe they're not good at something and maybe you're good at it. So my next question is, can social media contribute to text test anxiety?
Can social media contribute to test anxiety?
Mhm.
I want to say yes and no.
That's what I'm saying. Cause like it depends. It fully depends.
Now, I'm gonna say yes and no for this reason because this is where we go back to accountability. So, yes, social media can attribute to test anxiety because you watching social media, you watching YouTube and TikTok instead of studying. And so now you feel unprepared for your exam, and now you have anxiety and you're scared that you're going to fail, right? Now, is that social media's fault? No. So while I say yes, it can contribute to it. No, because you're making a choice. So this is that accountability piece. You have to hold yourself accountable, because social media is not going to school and making a grade for you. You're going to school and you're doing the exams and you're taking those tests to get those grades for yourself. So hold yourself accountable, become time oriented. And again, like we mentioned, like 2 weeks in a row, we kind of talked about ways for you to kind of separate yourself from the distractions, right? This is where you now have to make the conscious choice to separate yourself from that distraction. Another thing that I feel like social media probably also does is provide you sometimes that unrealistic expectation. It'll show you all the good things. So students who are excelling greatly in all these various areas, but you don't see the behind the scenes struggle that they have. So social media has a way of making everything look glamorous and almost to seem like there was no work involved or any work put into it, when in fact there was a ton of work put into it for them to get to those things. And sometimes it's smoke and mirrors, just the false idea to show you something.
It'll show you the good, but not the bad and the ugly.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that my yes and no stands. I don't know, but what the rest of y'all feeling?
See, I was with you, but not for the same reason. I was with you because social media, it's not just one thing, it's everything. So you could be like on that side looking for study material. So you could be trying to look for those educational videos to study. But if you get sidetracked, is that not on you? Because you could be on the educational material there. You could be using your resources to help you.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also agree with you, Abby. I was gonna say that, like, it's really easy to get distracted and then, you end up not studying. I think that's one way. Something else I thought about in my college experience, we used to have group chats for our classes. So we use GroupMe. And I don't know if GroupMe is considered social media, but there would be a lot of stuff going on in that group chat before the test. And if everybody's feeling like this professor is kind of like crazy and I don't know if we're gonna do well, like in a way you feel solidarity, but then it also like makes you feel like, dang, I'm really gonna fail this test. Like, I don't know if that's helpful. And I definitely used to be looking at those sometimes, the group chat. So I think that can be our downfall too.
I love that, because even though it's not necessarily social media, right? It is some form of technology that we're using, and you guys were using it to kind of stay connected as a class, but then it quickly became something that made you have anxiety. And so even thinking about that, right? What did you do to kind of limit the viewing of the group so that it would not cause you to have anxiety before a test? Or did you kind of just keep it there?
I always had it on my phone, but I think I had to learn like, okay, if we're like 2 hours out or an hour out from the test, like I don't need to be reading this group chat anymore. Cause like I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. So like the chat is not going to help me anymore.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I think similar, like we had for us, a lot of our groups used WhatsApp, and it was the same thing. I was not an avid WhatsApp user, and so a lot of times they wouldn't even know that I was MIA, because you know how like when you have something on your phone and like you're running out of storage space, it'll start deleting some of the apps off your phone. So a lot of them didn't even know that I wasn't even in the group chat no more. Because I'm like, yeah, a lot of times I feel like you, Maya, like they were distractions, and not as helpful, but good to have like that camaraderie, like you have like your social group. And so on occasion, I would remember that I'm supposed to be in a WhatsApp group and I'll download it again. So then I get the quick catch up and then I let, unload itself and we just kind of start back over again. I might have been in WhatsApp maybe 3 times out of the entire semester. Don't judge me, but we're
That's
listening,
fair,
not
though.
judging.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, you get your study materials without the craziness. So you can kind of like bob and weave that.
We definitely bobbed and weaved.
That sounds like a great idea. We're gonna improve on that. Grow as a person.
Okay, so what foods help support the brain function before an exam? I really don't know because I don't eat breakfast.
Same.
I've gotten there yet.
My non-breakfast eaters, I can't say that because I don't eat breakfast either, y'all.
And when I do eat breakfast, I'm always late.
That's because you last minute. You wait till it's time to walk out the door to
I
want to
need
eat.
my sleep.
Food to fuel that energy in the mornings before your exam. We hear it often, right? Especially when in middle school and high school or even elementary. A lot of them say, get a good night's rest the night before. So try to go to sleep early. Why? Because if you show up to the test and you're exhausted and you're tired, how does that help you? The next thing they tell you is make sure that you eat a balanced breakfast in the morning before you come in. Why? Because food helps to energize you so that it keeps you awake and then you're not hungry in the middle of the test. Because what happens when you're hungry? You're no longer focused on what you're supposed to be doing or even on the question at hand. You're now focused on what time this test over because it's time for lunch. I wonder what they having for lunch today. Oh my goodness, I can taste that pizza right now. You're no longer focused on your exam or your test. So these are some of the reasons why those things become the go-to when they're telling you how to prepare for your exam. I know that there's a lot of superfoods out there that you can eat and enjoy to help you with your test. All I will say is try to eat something that fills your stomach. For some people, that's oatmeal. For some people, that's cereal. For some people, you going hardcore. Shout out to those mamas that's making, bacon, eggs, and grits and, sausages and stuff for breakfast. I'm not that mama. But some people really do get like that big breakfast in, which is helpful for their students when they're going to perform on tests as well. Why? Because they're full, they're ready, like they're focused, that energy is there, and your energy is burning off the food that you put in. So eat what you can. Eat whatever you have available to you. For some people, that's a banana. Some people drink shakes. Whatever it is that's available to you. And I say that because everybody's home situation is going to be a little different. You're going to have access to different things in your pantry. Some people, there may be a PB&J sandwich in the morning before they go to school, but whatever it is, just try to eat something and have it on your stomach before you take your exam so you can stay focused on your exam. Wait, I got a question for y'all. Because see, look, y'all have been talking about y'all not breakfast eaters, right? So what are you doing before your exam to kind of keep you from being like, oh my God, I'm hungry?
I don't know.
Nothing.
I think a sandwich and coffee. That's it.
I mean, in college, exams were different times of the day, so hopefully I've had lunch. If not, it's okay. Most of the time I don't get hungry. Like I can eat a granola bar and be fine. And sometimes I can eat nothing and be fine. So
Oh, I see granola bar, banana, and milk. Yes. I think for me, by the time I started school again, all of my exams were at night. So the struggle was you done worked all day, you done took care of your kid, and now it's like 11 o'clock at night, and you're about to take this exam. The struggle bus, yo. How do you stay awake to take your exam? So again, this is where I say, look, time management, right? Now, if I was tired, should I have been taking that exam at 11 o'clock at night? No. But me, I was over here like, I'm gonna get this test done. Let's go. So choosing a time where you are more awake and you are, look, don't take your exam while you in the bed. Look, Maya, I
That
see
was
the
you.
face.
no, I
That was
actually
you
didn't do
too.
that.
That
I
was you
actually
too,
didn't
Mom.
do that. That's new. Because we were being watched, so I had to sit at my desk and do the scan.
Ah,
No, I couldn't even do
Oh
that.
no, Mom used to do that.
I did. I used to take my exam in the bed. Look,
Literally, and I had to be looking at you.
don't do that. I done fell asleep twice on an exam.
Bruh. Bruh.
So
Come on.
look, this is my transparent moment. So this is why I can say like, don't take your exams from the bed. But yeah, if it is, especially for my college students, like if you are struggling with night exams, set up somewhere where you have good lighting that's going to keep you awake. Try to eat a snack or something. I would not tell you to drink coffee that late at night or have any caffeine that late at night because then it's just going to keep you up and it throws off your sleep cycle. So try to eat a snack of some sort to try to stay awake. If you already know that you are tired, like you are so tired, don't even bother to take your exam that night. Also, don't procrastinate and wait till the night that the test is due to try to take that exam either. So prepare yourself so that you have time and make time where you feel like you are the most energized to be able to take that exam. So if it's first thing when you come home from work, knock it out the park then. So then that way when you're done, you have that relaxation time. But definitely don't take your exams from the bed and don't wait till it's like super late at night to try to do it. Exams, exams, exams.
But now comes the part for me, because for people like me, I don't have a choice. You either go in the morning or a bit later in the day. If you're not ready by then, you're cooked. Now,
Right. Now, for you guys, though, in the morning, you either have breakfast at home or you have breakfast at school. And if you're taking it in the afternoon, you guys have pretty much had lunch. So you kind of had something to fuel you. Well, that is given you guys are actually eating the school lunch, because I know that's a whole another story. But you're at least
yeah, that
offered
would not be
something to have for lunch.
that would not be a wise idea, we can say. That would not be a good idea at that time, especially
Depending
before
on what
kids
it is. Look, you being
attend
excited on Calzone Day.
that. We can talk about that, but some of the other stuff, you're cooked.
Don't eat that. Eat the fruit. Eat the fruit and drink the milk. It's
That's what
something
I
on your
do
stomach.
anyway. It's
But I'm
something.
saying there's something on your stomach for when you get ready to take your exam. So if the other stuff you already know is going to upset your stomach, and remember, if you are a person who is nervous and has anxiety before testing, anything you eat is going to make your stomach feel bubbly. especially if that's something that, like, if that's your body's reaction to nervousness or anxiety. Now that food is gonna help cause that extra bubbliness that you feel in your stomach. So know your body. Pay attention to your body and what your body is telling you. And be prepared for that too on the day of testing.
I remember taking those tests in high school and my stomach so loud. But like I feel like they should give like gummies. I don't know, half of the test. I was starving to myself, not gonna lie. Okay.
That's so real.
I was actually starving and like I was so nervous because like people can hear that. And I just pushed my stomach like inside, like I don't know.
Like, stop. Not now.
No. Okay, so my other question is what's the role of deep breathing and mindfulness in managing stress?
Say that again.
What's the role of deep breathing and mindfulness in managing stress?
The role of deep breathing and mindfulness is basically to calm you down, especially like when your stomach starts bubbling or you start sweating or you start feeling like that nervous energy. So some people are foot tappers when they start to get nervous about taking a test, or they're pin tappers, or maybe like they start fiddling, so they start doing this, or they start clicking the pen multiple times. Mindfulness and deep breathing help you to calm your nervous system so that you're not the pen clicker, so that you're not the pen or pencil tapper, or so that you're not like constantly shaking your leg under the table. You want to be able to feel calm when you take your exam, because what ends up happening, and we'll talk real quick, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a fear of something. And typically it's when it comes to testing, it's the fear of failing, or the fear of not doing well, or the fear of disappointing somebody. There's so many different fears that can come with test taking, that recognize, if you can, where that fear is coming from. Are you fearing that you're going to fail that test? If so, walk in and know that you're going to try your hardest. You're going to try your best. So today I'm going to ace this test. I'm going to do my best. Do the best that I can do. I studied, I'm prepared. Let's go. If you are the person who feels like you're going to let somebody down, remember, you define your success. They don't. So walk in and say, I'm going to be successful no matter what happens after this exam. So it's about like finding that way to calm yourself down and reframing the thought that you're having in that moment. Mindfulness is definitely good because sometimes we just have to place our mind on something else other than that test in the moment. So what is that something that appeals to you? Is it a beach? Do visualization. Visualize a neutral scene, somewhere that you like that calms you. For some people, it's, look, Maya had mentioned earlier having the nature on her school campus. So that greenery, looking at the trees, visualize the sound, visualize the scene in your mind. Those things help calm you down a lot. If you're a beach person, visualize the beach scene. What is it that you hear when you're at the beach? What do you feel? Think of all your 5 senses and visualize that moment. And it too will help to calm you down.
Shift your perspective.
Yeah. How do you guys feel like you utilize your senses when you're trying to calm down, especially when you're thinking about test taking after it made you nervous?
For the test, honestly, I just prepare myself as well as I can, at least mentally.
I love that. I love that.
For that, it's like, okay, it's coming up. let me focus on this so that I can do the best on this subject, because clearly that's going to help me for that.
Yes,
So let me
yes,
focus on this because this test is going to define a lot in terms of that grade.
absolute.
Now the problem comes if you have multiple tests in one day.
It's
But like
draining.
even then you're just like, I'll be all right.
I see in the chat too that positive self-talk. Yes. Affirmations. Affirmations are a good tool for mindfulness as well. Which also helps with that positive self-talk. Affirm that you're going to do well. Affirm that you are prepared and ready. Prepare, find the
Affirmations
areas
are
in the test. Oh, find the areas in the test where you're weak and then focus more on those. Yes, absolutely. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I had a professor that actually told me that when you are studying and you are preparing, don't study the entire chapter. Look for the things that you don't know that are more likely to pop up on the test rather than studying the things that you do know. Great advice.
No, when you said them affirmations, I had to look at you
You need
because
them on the mirror.
Affirmations is the death of me, bruh.
Listen,
I can't
those
escape it.
affirmations, the affirmations work though, don't they?
They do, but I still gotta look at them though.
That's right. Yes, we are an affirmation household over here.
I can't escape.
So before we turn it over to Maya to close us out, I will say that next week we will not have Talk Tuesday because little Lamar here has an orchestra recital. So we're gonna be in the recital watching him play. So we will not have Talk Tuesday next week, but we'll be back in May. So now I'll turn it over to you, Maya.
Okay, sounds good. Tests come and go, but the skills we build during exam season, like time management, focus, resilience, and self-belief, stay with us for life. Whether you're fine-tuning your study habits, finding calm in stressful moments, or simply learning how to show up for yourself, remember this. You are capable, you are growing, and you've got what it takes to succeed. Preparation isn't just about passing a test, it's about building confidence that lasts far beyond the classroom. Before we wrap up, don't forget to check out what's happening at Steps Foundation this month. We're excited to partner with First Nature Ranch to host Horse Sense and The Color of You, two amazing experiences designed to help teens explore identity, confidence, and art through the power of nature and horses. Spots are limited, so head to our website to register now. This summer, we're launching EduTalk, Real Talk, Real Change, a powerful conversation series in July. We're bringing together educators, students, community members, and government officials to have honest, solution-focused discussions about what needs to change in our school systems so everyone feels seen, heard, and supported. If you've got a voice and a vision, we want to hear from you. And finally, our last Youth Program Ambassador Information Session of the year is happening. Oh, this passed. Never mind. That's okay. All right. To learn more about our events and programs, visit www.stepsfoundation.org or follow us on social media at Steps Foundation Incorporated. Exams might test your knowledge, but they don't define your worth. Keep showing up, stay curious, and give yourself grace along the way. You are doing more than just preparing for a test, you're building the future you want. Thanks for joining us on this month's Talk Tuesday. Keep aiming high, supporting each other, and trusting the process. As always, stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading the way. Catch you next time. Bye.